So let's look into personality types within the callers themselves. What do you guys look for when you're advising your coaching clients, and then take us through what baseline numbers you guys like to look after when hiring that first ISA or multiple ISAs?
Yeah, so we use our system is DISC. So a lot of people probably know we use DISC personality profiling for all of our recruitment and hiring for all of the different roles on the team. So we have like an ideal profile for each one. So inside sales is kind of interesting. Like Shannon Smith, who I brought up, she is a higher D, like a high D and a much lower S or a little bit of I. She's not your typical inside sales. The reason it worked for her was like she was brought onto a team where there was no other inside sales. So she could kind of run her show, right? And then she went to another team where over a couple of years, she started to manage that department. So her type of profile, for example, you wouldn't typically recruit / hire, because it's kind of a mix with inside sales. You wouldn't typically bring somebody with her profile if you already had, an inside sales manager, you already had 4 really strong people, because it would be hard to retain those strong personalities, and they like to dominate. They're just good at it, right? So I mean, Shannon here still runs our sales department, even as a coaching company, because she just kills at it. She loves it. And she has all that experience with inside sales. But your typical inside sales, what we're usually looking for is sometimes a combination like mid-level I with a secondary potentially S, but I always really want a little bit of D. The really high I, right, is going to be good at connecting, but their average attempts are going to be much lower than a D. The D is going to kill it, and their dial rate will be really strong, but they'll also bulldoze over the majority of the people they talk to for like the first 2 months. So no matter what we do for training with a D, they're like, no, I booked the appointment, but I'm sure we can all guess what happens. There are no shows the roof. And they won't listen because they're a D. If they're high D, don't take offense, a high D, they won't listen until their results aren't there. But the minute the results aren't there, they're like, what's going on? I'm getting all these no-shows. It's like, oh, okay, let's go and soften your conversation and actually connect with people and talk to them, because you can't just force them to come into the office on the phone. So, mid-level, a little bit of D is great. Too high of I can be problematic again for the length of time on the phones. S's can be good with a mix. The S is really good at follow-up, right? So your DI or your D combination with I are going to be better at booking the initial, like newer leads, newer opportunities. Your S's are definitely going to be better by landslide and nurturing the follow-ups and not dropping those people if they're trained well. Because the other side of the S is going, I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want anyone calling me at home. So why would I want to call anybody at home? We don't touch C in ISA. It's very difficult. Like the precision and the kind of cold system approach with the C is very difficult. We haven't had success with that. But typically an IS mix is great, or an I with a little bit of D. Like I said, it's just my personal preference for a little bit of D. Shannon trained, her whole department for like 9 years. And she did very well with the mix with some people with S and I without the D, but they came from like collections background. Like they had phenomenal experience with being on the phone and being trained to be really diligent, I guess is the word.
I'd be the most amazing ISA ever, because I'm like a 95 I and like a 40 S or something.